Module 3 for General Mathematics, Chapter 2, which is Rational Function. So our learning targets, first is you're going to represent real-life situations using rational functions. Distinguishes rational function, rational equation, and rational inequality. Okay, lesson 2.1, representing real-life situations using rational functions. Rational functions can model a number of real-life situations. One particular example is the help that is extended by the government to the citizen during the time of pandemic. Majority of our fellow citizens experience hardship and required help coming from the government. As a response, they provided a particular amount to a certain percentage of the population that can be represented as rational function to determine how much, either in cash or kind, an individual may receive. However, it is not enough that only the government will take part to solve this crisis. Everyone can be part of the solution if we played our role properly. Real-life situations that involve rational functions is mostly seen in economics and science. However, the other disciplines also incorporate this concept. If you wonder how rational function can help, you can explore this module. Okay, for analyze and explore. Functions are used to model real-life situations and in representing real-life situations, the quantity of one variable depends on corresponds to or mapped onto other quantity. Consider the example below and reflect if you are confident enough to proceed. Write and write a function C that res- represents the cost of buying alcohol A. If an alcohol costs 115 pesos, so the function would be C of A, C for the cost of alcohol, buying alcohol, and A for the alcohol is equal to 155 A. So per alcohol daw is 155. So A is the amount or the quantity kung pila ka book alcohol ang inyong paliton. So if ever nagpalit mo og one kuan pulo ka buok, so 155 times 10 is equal to 1,550. So that is RC of A. Next is a commuter pays 20 pesos for a tricycle ride for the first 5 kilometer and an additional 0.75 pesos for every succeeding distance D in kilometer. Represent the situation as function. Okay, first function is f of d is equal to 20. If ang distance daw is greater than 0 and less than 5. If RD is greater than 0 and less than 5. So 20 pesos lang. Pero if ever gani nga mula pa siya og 5 kilometers, mag-additional ka og 0.75. So f of d is equal to 20 plus 75 d per kilometer na ang kuan niya additional sa 0.75. So mo na i-multiply nito siya sa d kung pila ka kilometers ang na-add. So 0.75 times d if RD is greater than 5. Okay. So pwede nato ni siya i-himo og piecewise function nga style. Pero dani sa example is gilahi-lahi siya. Pero piecewise function yun siya actually. Okay, next. Let n be a non-negative integer and let a sub n a sub n minus 1, and so on. A sub 2, Sir Nash, a sub 1 and a sub 0 be the real numbers with an a sub n, with a sub n should not be equal to 0. So the function f of x is equal to a sub n x raised to the power of n plus a sub n minus 1 x raised to the power of n minus 1 plus so on plus a sub 2 x squared plus a sub 1x plus a sub 0 is called a polynomial. So polynomial function of x with degree n. The coefficient a sub n is called the leading coefficient and a sub 0 is the constant. Okay, a constant should not be equal to 0, okay? And the coefficient a sub n is called the leading coefficient. So muna ang leading coefficient. So here are the examples of polynomial functions of particular degree together with their names. Okay, first, the polynomial, this one. F of x is equal to 3. The degree is 0. And the special name is constant function. Since this one is only constant, si a sub 0 lang siya. Wala siya degree, wala siya coefficient, or wala siya sub. Like a sub n, ano ba? Next is f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1 na siya isa ka degree. Kay x raised to the power of 1b na siya, diba? Na imaginary. So isa ka degree and the linear function, the special name is linear function. Next, f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. So na siya isa duha ka degree. So that is a quadratic function. Next is f of x is equal to 4x cubed plus 2x minus 7. Na siya constant. Na siya degree nga tulo ka buok. Si 4x cubed. Ang cube is tulo. Mo na iyang degree. So that is a cubic function. Kung duha, quadratic. Kung isa, linear function. Kung only wala lang siya, constant lang na niya, is constant function. Okay, definition of rational function. A rational function, r of x, is a function of the form r of x is equal to p of x over q of x, wherein of p of x and q of x are polynomial functions. And q of x should not be equal to 0 because in fraction, it is unidentified or it doesn't exist. Okay? So, bawal atong denominator mag-equal to 0. So, our p of x daw and q of x should be polynomial functions. The domain of r of x is a set of real numbers such that q of x is not 0. So, the domain daw or the x of r of x is a set of real numbers. So, what are those real numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, and so on. So the following are examples of rational functions. So first, r of x is equal to x cubed minus 1 over x plus 1. X should not be equal to 1. Why? Negative 1 man dapat siya. Should not be equal to negative 1. X sub 1, x sub 1. X minus 1. Wait sa x should not be equal to negative 1 plus 1, 0. Okay, sayop to siya. Okay, r of x, x cubed minus 1 over x plus 1. X should not be equal to negative 1 because yung nag-substitute na to ang negative 1 there sa denominator. Negative 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. So, unidentified siya or does not exist. So, that's why dili siya pwede equal to negative 1. So, both the numerator and denominator are polynomial functions. As you can see, the first one is 2 kabukian degree and the second one is 1 ihan degree. So denominator has restriction because it should not be equal to 0 just like what I said earlier. It should be equal to negative 1 kaya nag-ato i-add sila ma-equal siya into 0 and it is DNE or does not exist or error. Okay, next for second one is f of x is equal to 1 over x wherein ang x should not be equal to 0 again. So the numerator one is a polynomial function with degree of 0. Why? Because it is a constant function. Okay, the denominator is a polynomial function and it must not be equal to 0. Okay, it should not be equal to 0. Okay, ma-DNE na po siya. So there are different scenarios in real world relationships that can be can be modeled by rational functions. Huh? Masilala. Let us take the following examples. Okay, first, the local government the local government unit allotted a budget of 100,000 pesos for the feeding program in the daycare center. The amount will be divided equally to all the pupils in daycare center. Write an equation showing the relationship of the allotted amount per pupil represented by f of x versus the total number of children represented by x. Showing the relationship in tabular form, we will arrive at, okay, first column is the number of children denoted as x, and the second one is allotted, the second row is allotted for amount per child. Okay, if there are 10 childrens, so the allotted amount per children is pila ito? 100,000. Okay, 100,000. So kung 10 children, i-divide na to ang the 100,000 of 10. Wait, let me get my calculator. So i-divide na to siya na atay 10,000 na allotted amount per child. If ever 20 ka bukang children, na naputay 5,000, 50, tag 2,000 sila, 100, tag 1,000, and if 200 is tag 500. So notice as the number of children increase, the amount allotted per child decrease. So as we can see, kung nag-increase ang number of children, nagka-decrease pod ang allotted nga amount para sa children, para sa mga children. Diba? From 10,000, nahimo siya 500, kay daghan na kay sila. So in writing a representation, we still arrived at f of x is equal to 100,000 divided by x. Okay, so mo na iyahang representation. So second, suppose a benefactor wants to supplement the budget allotted for each child by donating additional 650 pesos per child. If h of x represents the new amount allotted per child, construct a function representing the relationship. Using the table we used earlier, so here the first children, first is the number of children which are 10 kabuok sila, which is 10 kabuok. So, supplement the budget allotted each child donating additional 650 per child. So, 10 children. So plus na to siya daw og 650. Suppose the benefactors wants to supplement the budget allotted for each child by donating additional 650 per child. 650 per child. So dapat na pa ni X diri. Ano dapat? Suppose the benefactor wants to supplement the budget allotted for each child by donating additional 650 per child. Ay, sakto raw. Dili na din mag-X. Kay kani per child naman ang iyahang kuan. Sorry. Okay, so number of children is 10. So, ang 100,000 i-divide nila, so nasa like 10,000. So, per child, nasa 10,000. Yang gingon sa benefactor, mag-supplement siya o additional 650 per children or per child ay per child. So, 10,000 plus 650. So, mo na ang amount nga madawat sa isa ka child. So, for 20, 5,000 plus 650, 50, and so on. So thus, the representation of the rational function is g of x is equal to 100,000 divided by x plus 650. So mao na ang iyang representation of the rational function. Next, a car is to travel a distance of 70 kilometers. Express the velocity v as a function of travel time t in hours. Let us first show the relationship using a table. Remember that as time increases in traveling, the velocity or the speed of a car will decrease. Okay, so first row is time, which is represented as hours. Okay, and the velocity is denoted as kilometer per hour. Okay, so sa first hour niya nga travel, ang iyang velocity is 70 kilometers per hour. Sa iyang second travel is 35 kilometers per hour. 3 is 23.33 kilometers per hour. Sa 5 is 14 kilometers per hour, and for 10 is 7 kilometers per hour. So that's the function will be represents as v of x is equal to 70 over t. So can represent as v as a function of t. So v velocity times time is equal to 70 over t. So 70 daw yung distance of 70 kilometer mo travel siya distance. So in isa ka oras niyang travel, i-divide na to siya t. So yan travel 70 kilometers divided by the time, which is 1. So 70. So 2 niyang time na pod 2 hours. So if mag-travel siya 2 hours, 35 kilometers per hour ang iyang speed, iyang velocity. Okay, and so on. Wala siya. So that is an example of a rational function. Okay, from the word rational or ratio, from the word ratio, it is fraction. Okay, kailangan dyan siya fraction, di ba? Ratio. Okay, next for lesson 2.2. Rational functions, equations, and inequalities. So, it was defined in the previous lesson that rational functions are expressed as a ratio of two polynomials p and q. The value of rational functions is defined for all real number of x, except for the value of x that makes the denominator 0. There are different relationships between rational expressions. It may involve inequality, equality, and functions, and that is what we're going to dig deeper in this lesson. Okay, rational expression can be described as a ratio or quotient of two polynomials. So let us look at the example. Consider the following algebraic expression. Determine whether they are rational or not, and state the reason. Okay, first, 3 of x squared, 3 of x squared, 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 over x plus 1. So what is that? Is it a rational expression or not? It is a rational expression because it is a ratio of two polynomials. Okay, the first one, Ashay, 2 degrees. So that is quadratic equation, right? Quadratic function. Sorry. So that is quadratic function, and this one is linear function. Next, 2 over x minus 5. It is also a rational expression because 1 and x minus 5 are polynomials. So say 1, 2 man na siya, ma'am. Because 2 and x minus 5 are polynomials. Next, square root of x minus 4 over 2x plus 1. It is not a rational expression since the numerator is not a polynomial. Dili siya polynomial. Why? Na siya'y square root sign. That is a radical equation. Radical function. Wait. Unsa na siya? Radical function. Okay, radical expression or radical function. Next, x plus 5. That is a rational expression because the numerator x plus 5 and the denominator 1 are polynomials. Why? Ngano yung kang na-denominator niya? Wala man ni siya denominator, sir. Ngano man ni yung kang kuan dapat fraction. Ngano wala may over 1. Ngano man na, sir. Kay naa naman ni siya imaginary good nga over 1, di ba? Di ba 5 over 1, ana. So na siya imaginary nga over 1. Rational expression because the numerator x plus 1 and the denominator 1 are polynomials. Okay, read and analyze. Sino ka pa? Ay, ambot. Read and analyze the advertisement below. Call for applicants for a contract of service workers. So, for the purpose of 2020 census of population, the Housing Philippine Statistics Authority is hiring enumerators. So first requirement is any male or female. Age should be at least 18 years old and at most 45 years old. Educational attainment, at least senior high school graduate. The salary is 700 pesos per day. It should be physically fit for field work. Interested applicants Interested applicants must submit application letter and personal data sheet or PDS to PSA Quezon City. Okay, so for your questions, what is the advertisement all about? Unsa all about ang advertisement na nakasulat diya sa taas? What job is being offered by the PSA? Who can apply for the position? So kinsa ang pwede mo apply lang sa position? How will you translate the required age mathematically? So how will you translate the required age niya? So gamitan ninyo siya og kato akong parehani greater than or less than ingon ani style. Kani ingon ani. Kani. D ang edad niya is dapat dako siya sa kuan or gamay siya sa kuan ana. Nakabutan naman na diha, 18 years old and that was 45 years old. Okay. So represent the salary S that will receive as a function of number of days used for work. Okay, S of N is equal to chu 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 chu. So function siya ha. Nakabutan na ang salary niya dire. Daan. Ay, oh. So for number 6, what are the mathematical symbols that you used in answering questions number 4 and 5? So sa mga mathematical symbols ninyo gigamit? Do you think the age requirement for the job is fair enough or is there a bias? Why do you think so? Why do you say so? Why do you say so? Oh. Why do you think having census is important? Yan ang importante mag-census. So you need to answer those questions. Okay, next is this one. So what is a rational equation? So the definition is it is an equation involving rational expression. So for example, is this one x plus 4 over x minus 1 is equal to 1 over 5. So equation man siya. So that's why equation ang iyahang itsura. Di ba? Equation, good. Oh. Okay, rational inequality. An inequality involving rational expression. So x minus 2 over 5 is not is greater than 3. So x minus 2 over 5 daw is greater than 3. So ang rational inequality involves rational expression. So naka-involve og ingon ani, but then siya less than or greater than or equal and so on. Dili siya equal ang nakabutang. Greater than or equal, less than or equal, less than, greater than, mao na nakabutang for the rational inequality. And for the rational function, it is a function of the form of f of x is equal to p of x over q of x, wherein p of x and q of x are polynomial functions and q of x is not the zero. Q of x is not the zero function. Okay. For example, this one. Okay. Rational equation, rational expression with equal siya ha, na siya equal chu chu chu. Kaya mo ma equation god. So for rational inequality, na siya yung aning mga symbols. For rational function, na siya f of x. Function man. Okay. So additional examples, determine whether the given sentence is a rational equation, a rational function, a rational inequality, or none of this. First, x plus 5 over x minus 1 is equal to 1. Okay, this is an example of rational functions because the symbol y is also representation of x or f of x, of function of x or f of x. Okay. So next, square root of 2 over x plus 1 is less than or equal to 3. So none of this siya because square root of 2 over x plus 1 is not a rational expression. So naman siya radical sign, so it is not a rational expression. Okay, for your firm up, determine whether the given is a rational function, a rational equation, a rational inequality, or none of this. So answer the following. For your DPEN, to strengthen your skills in determining rational functions, rational equations, and rational inequality, you need to construct or create 5 examples of each category for rational equation, rational function, and rational inequality. And for your transfer, this one is the most challenging one. Okay? We are going to analyze your bills in Samsung Rico for the consecutive months. Using your bills at home, express the amount per kilowatt per hour A as function of kilowatt per hour K. Consume that the last 2 consecutive months And then you're going to create austerity plan for the next month. Okay, austerity. It means the measures taken to reduce spending. Okay, for this one, this is an example of austerity plan. So the bills for the last 2 consecutive months. So inyo ibutang pila ang inyong bills. Pila ang bills with kilowatt per hour ha. Para klaro. Next, you're going to create a rational inequality showing the relationship between the bills in the last consecutive months. Okay. So, dapat ang giingon mo is rational inequality. So, it involves rational equation and katong greater than, less than. So, inyong kuan kung asay mas dako nila ang first month ba or ang second month. Okay? So, na siya greater than or less than nga sign para ma-consider siya as inequality. Okay, it should be rational expression po siya. So, ato ibuhat dani is ang amount over kilowatt per hour. So, pila ang amount niya, then over pila ang kilowatt per hour nga na-use. Okay, ana na lang. So, amount divided by kilowatt per hour nga na-use. Nana sa inyong bills na butang. So, greater than ba siya or equal sa same gyapon sa second month, kilowatt per hour, amount over kilowatt per hour used. Okay, so for this one, list down the austerity measures to be undertaken to reduce electricity consumption. So from the word list down, so inyo la ilista. So sa may mga kailangan ninyo i-undertake to reduce electricity consumption. For example, i-off ang mga suga nga wala gigamit, i-off ang PC, i-off ang TV, refrain from unsa man. Sige open sa ref, kay makadako sa kuryente, ana. Like, unsa imuhang mga mahuna-unaan nga maka-reduce sa inyuhang electricity consumption. Okay. So that is for the transfer and we're done. So that's it. If you have any question, just chat lang sa ako for clarifications and etc. So that's all. Goodbye. See ya!